Hello friends, welcome to Utopia Academy. I am Rudra, and in this video I am going to talk about the function of desire, the function of human desire. Now there is a difference between the Freudian concept of the function of desire and the Lacanian concept of the function of desire. And what is the difference? Now in this video I am going to talk about this very difference. Now in Freudian universe, the concept of the function of desire revolves around the concept of the loss. When we lost something, we experience some form of inner loss. Desire opens from that loss, or we just begin to have desire in relation to that loss. We have lost something and then we are having desire in order to reunite with that loss. For example, a child is united with her mother, and then when the child gradually grows up and then he or she just like feels the lack, some kind of loss, and he or she now want to reunite with that love of the mother. The child, when he or she was a child, then they were the sole object of love for his or her mother. But now when they gradually grows up, they are no longer the sole object of love of their parents, of anyone in the world. Now they want a second mother. Now the desire arising from that, or in relation to that loss of the mother. But in the Lacanian concept, we have a different concept. It is not about the loss, but rather it is about the lack. Now, in Lacanian concept, the function of desire, human desire, it revolves around the concept of lack. Now, what is lack? Now, lack is the Lacanian real. Now, whenever we are having desire, we are having this desire because there is a hollow, a void within ourselves. And this hollow or the void within ourselves, this lack is causing the desire. Let's say I want to read books, or I want to have new dress, or whatever. I want to play video games. But why I want to? Why I am having all this desire? Because the lack is the cause of this desire, not the external object causing the desire, not the external possibilities causing the desire. It is a lack. Now this lack is the leftover of all the desires. Now when the desire is satisfied, we don't feel completely satisfied. A part of ourselves, a little fragment of our inner self is still not satisfied. The leftover, the remnant, which cannot be integrated into symbolic order of human society, into the symbolic order of historical conditions and societal structure and so on. The part of ourselves which cannot be integrated, the part of ourselves which is not satisfied, which always returns to this lack. So the lack is causing us to construct, or in as an effect creating desire, and through this desire we are returning again to this lack. So lack is the object of its own desire through this function of desire. Now lack is this object of its own desire through the function of desire. Now we are having desire on the surface, but beneath this, all this desire, we actually, what we want to return to this lack. We again and again, we are trying to double this lack. We are reactualizing this lack constantly in our life through all the different kinds of desire. We are having this desire or that desire, and then moving through all those desire and constantly returning to this lack. Now this lack and the function of desire, both of them are getting recognition from one another. Lack exists because of this function of desire, or function of desire exists only in order to just point out as a pointer, in order to just so that the subject can exist, to continue its existence because of this lack. Now the lack, when it is the object of its own desire, it cannot be integrated into the society, social structure, the symbolic structure. It cannot be satisfied. It is the leftover. It is the very remnant. Now this lack is the very kernel, the trauma, the hollow of the subject. Now the subject is covering up or encoding this void, this lack, through all this desire. It is hiding it, it's covering. The subject is basically the response of this lack to the world, to the external symbolic structure of human society and so on. Now when the lack is, what the actual desire of the lack? the actual desire of the lac is the object petita, which is the object impossible, something we want which is absolutely impossible, which is not there in the world. Now, in order to achieve that object impossible, the subject is trying to engage itself into different kinds of activity, into symbolic order. It's breaking into the symbolic order, and it's moving from desire to desire. And this lack, when it is in the ambition to achieve the object impossible, but it cannot achieve that, so that object impossible and the inversion of it causing this subject, which is the function of desire. So the subject is the response of the lack, this Lacanian concept of the lack, to the world. Where is the world? The world is the Lacanian big other, the everything that happening into society, the symbolic order of human society, the social structure, the judiciary, the political structure, the academic structure, our families and everything. Now this societal order, this symbolic big other, the lack is responding to this big other, and in connection it is creating the subject itself, the self, which is basically the function of desire. Now, why this lack is hiding itself beneath this function of desire? Because the lack itself cannot exist in itself. It is in a flux. It always want to just go outside of itself, and that's why it's causing the subject. And subject is like the function of desire. It is revolving around this lack. Why? Because only through this lack the subject can continue its own existence, because if the subject is absolutely satisfied, it can no longer exist. So the lack, which exists in the center of the subject, it is causing the itself through the function of desire. It is the object of its own desire. In the other hand, in the Freudian concept, the function of desire revolves around the concept of loss. Whenever we are lost something, and then from that loss, retrospectively, from that loss, we are creating desires. So from that loss, all the desires arising. But in Lacanian concept, the desire is not based on loss, but it is based on lack. So it is a bit much more radicalized version of the Freud. Okay, so I hope you have you gather a little bit or more understanding about the difference between this this transition from the concept of loss to the concept of lack, which is the Lacanians in the Lacanian psychoanalysis. I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's it for today. I will see you the next time. Thank you so much. Bye.